if you've already seen it, you already know what happens. But yeah, I'm just gonna go through this. I'm gonna get my thought process through this game. Let's just get right into it. So right off the bat, the first thing I noticed is that he doesn't have Mammoth Swine. And I'm like, oh my god, like I prepped so hard for that thing, and it's not even here. It's like, I don't know if it's like it's a good thing it's not here, or it's like a bad thing. It's like, I don't know. But another thing I noticed was the Audino, which I had in my no way, because I'm like, well, what the hell does this thing do? Well, I found out what it does. But yeah. But ultimately here, I believe my strategy, I'm trying to remember like my exact strategy was. I know I wanted Corviknight in the back, just because I wasn't sure how it was gonna fare against some of his other mons. So yeah, I lead Heatran Latias. I'm trying to remember why specifically I ran that. I think Latias so I can lower some special attack, and then Heatran just for damage. Good coverage and damage. Go into the game, and he leads the Raichu Audino. And I'm like, okay, well, Audino's just in front of me, so I'm guessing it sets Trick Room. That's all I know I can do. I have no way to stop this. Like none of my mons on my team can really stop it at all. So I was like, okay, well, this Raichu could be a problem, so I'm gonna get as much damage into it as I can. And I'm gonna start Tailwind up, because like I said, I don't know if this thing is actually gonna Trick Room. And it does Trick Room, so it's kind of a good thing I didn't get the Tailwind up. But yeah. Wait, big damage on the Raichu. Doesn't take it down to its sash. Then here I'm like, okay. Well, Raichu's almost dead. Like, I can use Lati to pick it off. Let's just use Heatran to get some damage on this Audino. So I can't set up Trick Room. And so that's the play I ended up going for. And I remember in hindsight thinking that this was a bad play, but looking at his side, I feel like this was definitely the right play, because this Raichu was Volt Switching, so being able to take that out was really nice. So I'm quite happy with that play. And then I was gonna come out with the Beast, the Cursula, and this thing comes out, and I'm like, yeah, like I don't deal with this thing super well. I don't have Life Part in the back. I don't really know what it wants to do other than a lot of damage to me. So, yeah. I think I opt to just double into it. Just because, okay, this thing is a threat to my team. Like, I know it's a threat to my team. And he does end up maxing it. It's such a cool max animation. But then he throws out the Shadow Ball into it, and I'm like, oh wow. So Audino's kind of sick. Audino's so super cool. Like, gotta give him props for that. And then like Latias, like, done. Like, I don't even think that I need the +2 boost to kill Latias there. He's got base 145. Yeah. And then we get our first Magma Storm miss of the game. It's gonna be kind of a theme here. But and I send out Corviknight, the AV, I know I can take this thing's hits pretty well. And with Max, like, I know that, like, it's just not gonna do anything to me, and I know I can get a lot of damage off on it. So here, I believe I end up going for a Max Airstream. I think that's what I go for. Max Airstream has more power than the Iron Head. So I was like, okay, let's go ahead and use that. Just try to get this thing like down as much as we can. My speed tier ultimately doesn't matter. So that's what I end up doing. I end up maxing the Corviknight. Thing looks fucking baller. The Helping Hands, I'm like, okay, something's gonna take a lot. And he just kills the Heatran. Like, sure. And my Mirror Armor is gonna pop. It's gonna lose some stats. Heatran goes down, which sucks. And I just missed the kill on it. Unfortunate. But that's how it be sometimes. And Heracross, I'm like, well, Heracross is screwed. Scarfed. There's nothing it can do. So this game essentially just comes down to Corviknight at this point. I'm like, okay, well, I believe I end up just rock sliding because, like, out of all the moves I want to be locked into, I like to be locked into the thing. I can hit everything and give me a chance to flinch. That's why I ended up doing that. And then here I'm just like, well, I don't want to waste my max turn on this Cursula. Especially since I feel like it's going to be attacking the Heracross. So I go into this Audino to boost my attack. Because Heracross, yeah, just done. Why wouldn't you focus on that? Like, I go and boost my attack, and then he reveals Tropial Berry, which becomes very good information for the next game. My attack's gonna raise. So Trick Room goes away. I'm like, okay. So my thought here is like I gotta prevent Trick Room from going back up. Like, if there's any chance of winning this, I have to get rid of that Audino. Like, it could just protect in front of me, but I kind of just have to chance it because that Cursula isn't really gonna do a whole too much since I'm Dynamax and Navy. So that's what I do, and Audino just gets blasted. Super great. Shadow Ball does a pretty good chunk, but take it all right. Take it well enough to where I safely stand by that play. And then he's going to reveal the Celesteela. At this point, I'm like, okay. Well, if this Celesteela has Flamethrower, I pretty much lose anyway. So takes a while. I believe he takes a while. I believe he's calcing the Shadow Ball damage. I believe he's discovering that it is AV at this point. But yeah. So I think I just end up going into the Cursula just to get a kill. Takes some time. He's probably calcing still. That's what I would guess he'd be doing at this point. Yeah, he's gonna end up protecting there, which is smart. And then he does reveal Flamethrower here, so it's like, well, this game is pretty much over. Just gotta get some differential here. So I go into the Cursula again. My best bet. No matter what, both of these things kind of just kill me. You just don't let it go down. It's fine. Corviknight gets perished again. It's the second game in a row. Where Corviknight has been afflicted by perish. Yeah, and Corviknight's just gonna go down to the Flamethrower though. And takes that game pretty nicely. So going into game 2, I was thinking, okay, we're going to skip ahead a bit. Yeah, so going into game 2, I'm thinking, okay, so I liked a lot of what I brought, but I feel like Corviknight Heracross lead gives me a best bet because that can kind of threaten a lot and forces him to go into it. And allows Corviknight to get a max immediately and just start boosting stats. So that's why I believe I end up going Corviknight Heracross here. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, I need Heatran to deal with Celesteela, so I can't let Heatran die soon, so that needs to go in the back. And then I kind of, so I make kind of an interesting choice in bringing Mons. I bring the Heatran. I'm thinking, okay, Latias or Liepard. Both of them lower special attack, but like, I think I end up going Liepard just for matchup against the Cursula. And well, you'll see it gets pretty interesting. But so he's gonna leave the same lead. There's no reason why he wouldn't. Like, did him really well last game, and I immediately go Max Knuckle. That's right, I go Max Knuckle and then I go CC into this Audino. He's gonna fix something out, and either way, like, I get a chance at, like, he's gonna have to predict a max here. He doesn't know the Heracross is scarfed at this point. He's gonna have to predict a max here, and Audino is just not in a great spot. Because my best way of like dealing with that thing saying Trick Room is to just hit it as hard as I can with both Mons. Corv's going to max. And we see he makes the right play. He fakes out into the Heracross. I sort of expected it, but not the worst thing to happen to me. Like, I was semi-okay with it. And that's going to take a chunk. And the reason I'm mainly okay with that is because now an Airstream into that thing kills. Like, I know this from last game. The Max Knuckle and the Airstream will take that thing down. So I sort of have options here with my Heracross. I think I could just blow something back, or I could boost the Corviknight. And I end up boosting the Corviknight just because like I see a good end game with this thing. If this thing can stay alive and just do a lot of damage, I can see this thing being amazing. And Heracross can be preserved later. So I ended up boosting that, which may have been the right play, may have been the wrong play. But yeah, we see the Volt Switch come out. Heracross is scarfed, so it will be attacking last. Man, could you imagine if I closed combat into that slot? That one's crazy. I feel like that definitely was not a safe option though. Just raw CC with the Cursor in the back. But he brings out the Celesteela. So I get the coaching off. Alright, so the Steel is right in front of me now. And so I'm trying to think, what do I do? I believe I go Heatran here to try to challenge it. And I go ahead and try to take out this Audino with Corp, I believe. Because if I can take this Audino down, it means he's not going to be able to set up Trick Room in the future. He's got a huge support piece gone. He's not going to be able to Shadow Ball into that Ursula. Most importantly, he won't be able to do that. Next is the Steela. Like, okay, this is fine. I have Heatran on the field now. He's got a Helping Hand. And Max Flares into the Corviknight. That's a decent amount. Honestly, I'm so happy with how Corviknight took that. Like, I feel like Corviknight took that really well. And I Flutterby, that's right. I remember this. I Flutterby into that. Takes that down. And it also lowers its special attack of the Celesteela. So in this moment, I'm like, yo, I'm in a great spot. Like, I genuinely feel like I'm in a good spot. Like, even with Corviknight coming out of max, that Celesteela is going to be struggling. Like, I don't even think that a Max Flare would kill Corviknight at this, even with Sun Up. Anyway, he's gonna go Cursula. And I'm like, okay, well, he could have an Earth Power. Like, I'm predicting the Earth Power, because Heatran is my only real way of dealing with Celesteela. I'm like, okay. And actually, I'm gonna pause. Because this play is going to be really important, and I'm going to get back to it at the end of the video. Basically, what's going to happen here is, in order to stall a turn of max and preserve Heatran, I switch and sack Liepard. And I know I'm spoiling this play, but this is kind of an important play, which I will get into, like I said, at the end of the video. But Liepard is just the most expendable member. I need Heatran to win this game, and I know that. And send out the Liepard. Boom. It ends up working out for me because he ends up doubling into the Heatran. So I'm like, okay, yes. So Liepard pretty much did its job. It stalled a turn of max. And it goes down. It's unfortunate it goes down, but ultimately it wasn't doing much that game. And we're going to be able to Brave Bird and knock out this Cursula. Super nice, super nice. I do take a big chunk, and I do wonder if Ironhead would have killed. I don't know the calc, it probably would have, but at the time I wasn't really in a mood to play around with that thing, so I kind of just went for all the damage. Anyway, so here we have one turn of Trick Room left. So I'm thinking, okay, I have to like I get damage on this Raichu, knock it down to Sash, do whatever, and then just protect Heatran to stall out this last turn. Because I know Heatran, especially in the sun, can deal with this Celesteela, even if it's +2. So the Protect's gonna come out. you see the Max Quake come out, which I am Shokoberry. This is, and it has to be a physical hit. Like, it has to be a physical hit, which I calc this. This Heatran was made to take a Max Quake from a, what's it called? Mammoth Swine. So I'm like, okay, this is not doing shit. And it doesn't. And the Brave Bird comes out, does a bunch of damage. And unfortunately, I die. And that's where I think that the play with the Brave Bird might have been a bad play. But ultimately, I still think it doesn't matter because Volt Switch was going to kill anyway. And I was going to Brave Bird that Raichu no matter what. Yeah. Anyway, so my last stand here is Heracross and Heatran. So I could Rock Slide and take out that Raichu, which honestly might have just been the play. But I'm like, okay, this Celesteela has Stomping Tantrum, and I need to get damage on this thing because it's at +2 and it's not dying in one hit. So I double into it. Let's see, I get the Scarf, so Nuzzle pops off last, and the Magma Storm Mist. So, yep, that's another Magma Storm Mist. It's like, great. So at this point, I'm like, well, Heatran kind of just lost me the game. I don't really know what else to say. Like, I guess I could still like go into it, but as we'll see here, I guess it's not gonna really matter too much. As he goes for a Rain Dance, like, ah, crap. Like, Heatran lost me the game. Here we go. So yeah, Magma Storm's gonna go into Steela. Hits that time, thank God. Stamping Tantrum. Stomping Tantrum does a whole lot, and here I'm like, okay, well, if I have any chance of winning, I have to protect and survive a Volt Switch from this Raichu. Like, well, maybe there's a chance. Maybe there's a chance. I don't have a lot of special investment, because most of it's investment in defense. But the Magma Storm will take out the Celesteela. And I'm like, okay, now all I have to do is survive the Volt Switch. And I do not survive the Volt Switch. And I'm gonna go down. So, I guess just some closing thoughts. Before I get to that play. Before I get to that one play. So, I mean, I kind of went into this game. I didn't think I was gonna win this game anyway. Like, Matt has a lot more experience than I do with VGC, and he's just a great player. His team is fantastic. So honestly, I'm pretty okay with this loss, and I'm really glad that I was able to make it as close as I did. It makes me feel a lot more confident in my team to see how close it was. So yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with how I played that match. Now, going back to the play where I switched in Liepard. So, I guess I should start off with saying that obviously the Heatran's Magma Storm at the end, obviously that lost me the game, but ultimately I should have brought Latias over Liepard. And I think more than that, more than the Magma Storm miss, I think that made much more of an impact. Because, like, I don't know if I can find it here. Well, I don't know if I'm not gonna really focus on looking at it too much, but pretty much both were max ground moves. If I would have had Latias and switched into that, like, no matter what, even in that situation, Lati would have been a sack. That would have been the right play, always. But it would have taken nothing from those ground moves for Levitate, and I would have had a Latias, which will beat the Steela and the Raichu combined, and essentially I'd be in a 4v2 with the Latias. Because, like, think about it, like, Latias had Mystical Fire, then Celesteela didn't really have anything to hit the Latias, so, like, beats that 1v1, and then Raichu also had nothing to hit the Latias, so, I don't know. I mean, ultimately the game played out as it did. Magma Storm was a bad move. Moral of the story, don't run Magma Storm. And, yeah. That's really all I got. Good games to Matt, and I'll see y'all next time.